What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA Show. And today we are very late, and unfortunately, it's just me today. But we wanted to make this episode happen. We've had a lot of growth on the channel lately, and we're really excited and very thankful for that. So we want to make sure we keep to our word and give you shows Mondays and Fridays, good live streams on the world of combat sports and mixed martial arts. But unfortunately, the reason why Justin can't be here today is because he's fighting today. Justin has his fight today at the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas, and I will be attending that fight. I'm going to be heading down there in about an hour and 45 minutes. So I'm very excited, and Justin is ready. His weight cut is done. He is rehydrated, ready to go. And I'm here for the show, and I'm going to be watching the fight with one of his friends. So we're going to be cheering Justin on. This is a huge fight for Justin. If you guys are watching this live or watching this after the fact, please put good vibes in the comments. This is a very important fight for Justin, and we want to make sure we wish him all the best in his fight. This is for Fusion Fight League, I believe. I believe that's the name of the organization. And if all goes well, Justin's going to keep climbing the ranks, maybe get back into the UFC and do his thing. So let's see what happens. And yeah, I'll be heading down there shortly. But anyways, today we are going to talk combat sports and some major headlines. Some of these things I did want to talk to Justin about, but again, he has to get ready. He had to check in and start that fight. My entire transportation and travel today got very delayed, so that's why we're way behind in terms of what we had originally scheduled for this stream. So if anybody's watching this after the fact and was here earlier, I'm so sorry for that. The flight got delayed. We had to deplane, then board again, and then finally we took off like 30 minutes after that. It's been crazy, but hey, it's the busiest travel weekend. I should have known better. All right, let's get right into the mix, because we're gonna start with the topic that I want to talk about. It's not even about mixed martial arts, which is the main reason why we started this show, right? It's all about mixed martial arts, the MMA show. But Ryan Garcia is getting a lot of headlines lately. And I like Ryan Garcia. I think he's really funny, and I like his boxing style. I thought that fight against Devin Haney was really entertaining. And we're coming back to the steroid allegation. Now, I made a video a week or two ago about the fact that I thought that it seemed like maybe Ryan Garcia was framed. I laid out my argument. I gave my reasons. The bottom line was that I felt like there was a lot of money on the line in terms of the sport of boxing and what maybe the sport in general, who they wanted to see raise up as the champion. There seemed to be a lot of interest going against Ryan Garcia. There was also, the odds were against Ryan Garcia, and people who bet on Garcia probably won a lot of money, and that was bad for the sports books and so on and so forth in Las Vegas and elsewhere. So I was just saying, hey, look, when there's a lot of money on the line and something like this happens that's unexpected, you can't be that surprised if there is potentially some motive or a push for something underhanded to take place. Because if there's that much on the line, hey, you might be willing to risk a little bit more and do something to overturn the result. That was my main premise. Okay, and then we had the fact that people were saying that he was cleared of the second drug, the steroid byproduct of DECA, I think it was. Okay. And so once he was cleared of that, it was just came down to the ostarine. And ostarine is apparently something that is easily found in supplements. It's a common contaminant in supplements. Now, I've listened to a lot of people talk about this. By the way, just as an update, the B sample did come back positive. Okay. So we're going to talk about first this B sample. But I have heard people talk about the fact that, yes, this very well could be a contamination situation. But even still, even if it's contamination, as a boxer or as a fighter, you are fully responsible for what enters your body. And that may be true. But again, we still go back to that possibility. Hey, was there something nefarious at hand? Again, I don't have enough information to really draw those conclusions. But all I'm saying is it seems as though there could be enough on the line that could push somebody to do something like that. And my other reason for saying something like this is boxing is notoriously known as the dirtiest sport, or one of the dirtiest sports ever. So, you draw your own conclusions. Obviously, we need to know more before we draw further conclusions. But there's some interesting stuff that came out today. So the B sample was tested. Okay, we see right here, the B sample was finally tested, and it again came back for the banned PEDs. Now, I'm not sure if this is also coming back for DECA, but definitely for Ostarine, because it does not mention the DECA, which is very bizarre. It was whatever the name was, but it was a downstream chemical from taking DECA, which is a really easily testable steroid. Which more place more dates made the point that like nobody in the right mind would take this compound thinking they could evade testing. It's very easy to test for. So, anyways, this looks like it just came back positive for Ostarine. No mention of the other substance. So the B sample came back. Now, I think I looked up the statistic, and it's like 1 out of 5,000 cases is there a conflict between the A and the B sample. That's because they're taken at the same time. They're just separated. So it actually does make sense. I was very curious to see maybe if the A sample was contaminated and the B sample wasn't. I was curious to see if there was conflicting information there, and that would have been a major red flag. Looks like it wasn't. But the story gets more interesting. Okay, so we have this come out. The B sample also contained Ostarine. Not that shocking, just statistically, because we would have expected that, just given how the B sample is taken and the odds. Talking about, it's very, very infrequent that there's a discrepancy between the A sample and the B sample. But now we get to something more interesting. So Ryan Garcia's team also had Ryan do an independent follicle test. Now, this is where it gets very bizarre. So here we go. It said they announced today they conducted a hair follicle test, which came up negative. Okay. In the eyes of many fans, this is enough to clear him. They believe it's a contamination issue. That sounds like it's a wash. On one hand, you've got a reported positive for Ostarine, and on the other hand, it tests negative for that substance with a hair follicle test. It's hard to argue with science. Since it's a tie, the New York Commission will need to decide on the tiebreaker to determine whether to give more weight to the urine sample or the hair follicle test result. Okay. So this is very interesting, and I did not know this. I heard people talking this morning about this hair sample and essentially dismissing it. Oh, here, so check this out. Ryan and this is Devin Haney. Ryan and his team knew it would be positive. That's why they did a BS hair test on their own, which who really knows if they did it? Okay, I mean, you could obviously say something like that. Who knows? The credibility would come down to the private organization, the methodology by which they collected the hair follicle sample, and their testing protocol and whatnot. I would imagine that Ryan Garcia's team probably did this methodically in a way to show that this is a legitimate result. But what I did not know, and I hope that's true, is that the New York State Athletic Commission is actually giving potentially equal weight to both of these samples. I'm saying that from a bias standpoint because I feel like Ryan Garcia is innocent. I want to believe he's innocent because I like him and I think he's fun sport. And I think he stands up for what he believes in. So I kind of want to see him win. I hope he's telling the truth, and I hope he's vindicated in, correct, rightfully so, if that is indeed the truth. So that's where it's at right now. I'm gonna say that, yeah, I'm doubling down. I do feel like he's innocent. Was he framed, or was this a contamination issue, or was it something else? I don't know exactly where to draw the line, but I feel like something funny is going on here. I hope we hear more about the hair follicle sample and exactly that testing protocol and the veracity of the findings and all that and all that. But I think we're going to have to wait to see. But this is getting very interesting. Ryan Garcia has also threatened to quit boxing. I think he tweeted that, but then he deleted that tweet. So he's obviously riled up. But it is what it is. We're going to wait and see. But here we go. I'm saying that I think he's going to be vindicated. Let's see what happens. The second thing we want to talk about also involves Ryan Garcia. Now we're talking about Logan Paul in a beef with Ryan Garcia. So if you guys have been following what's been going on, Ryan Garcia has been going on a lot of podcasts talking smack about Prime. Okay. So since that, he's been going and going and going. I think I heard that Prime had like 1.2 billion revenue sales last year, something like that. I heard that from Jesse on Fire. So it's making a lot of money. It's profitable drink and a profitable business. And Ryan's been bashing it like crazy. He's been bashing it, saying it's unhealthy, it's hurting kids. It has, I think he stated that it has something called forever chemicals. I don't even know exactly what that means, but my assumption from what I've heard, when I've heard people talk about it, is like chemicals that once they enter your system, once you ingest them, they're in your system essentially for life, or that's theoretically for life. So he's been making these claims, and now they're coming back, essentially saying that a lot of these claims. So right here, right, Garcia has been attacking Prime for weeks as part of a feud with Paul, but the final straw might have been an Instagram post with a screenshot showing a Google result about how the caffeine in Prime can be dangerous for children, and the caption, "Come on, bro, you hurting kids." I don't know what that. Okay, but anyways, Paul defended Prime in his own Instagram post announcing the lawsuit, then needled Garcia's. Okay, well, he went back at Garcia about the positive steroid test. Okay, here, let's read this response from Logan Paul. We're a threat. Prime is the most disruptive beverage in history, and our competitors feel the pressure. It's likely that we've been targeted as the victim of a smear campaign. That claim seems bizarre because I don't think Ryan Garcia has any affiliation or connection with the competitor, with the competitive brands. I could be wrong about that. Maybe he has a deal with Celsius or some other competitors, but I don't feel like that's where it's coming from. I feel like it's fair to say that if Logan Paul wants to say that and put that out there, but I don't think that's where Ryan Garcia's attacks are coming from. Cloud chasers know they can use Prime. Nah, I don't buy that. Ryan Garcia's got so much clout right now. People don't like me or KSI. That's fine. But if you don't like Prime, don't drink it. No need to lie about the facts in an attempt to stay relevant. So again, I don't know exactly what Ryan Garcia said and what things constitute a lie. I know More Plates, More Dates did a really interesting breakdown of the beverage and the electrolytes and a lot of the claims that were made by Prime. That I'm sure that More Plates, More Dates, because he's so well versed in chemistry and does very thorough investigations. I don't think you could claim any sort of defamation against him because what he said, I imagine, is 100% the truth and nothing but the truth. But okay. Um, mm, these don't seem like, I mean, I think these are fine things to say. I definitely, maybe there's other people that are attacking Prime, the beverage, because they don't like Logan Paul or KSI. I don't fall in that category. I'm more or less, actually, I really like Logan Paul's vines back in the day, and I thought he was super funny. I mean, I'm fine with him. I don't really have a problem with him whatsoever. I'll tell you my stance on this entire thing with Prime. The thing the thing that bothers me about it is that when he has so much influence and so much ability to do good, and I feel like he does want to help people and genuinely do good in the world. And I just don't understand why he chose to go this route of creating a beverage and a sports drink. Especially, I know some variations have a lot of caffeine in them, and I know they've gotten attacked for that. But on the other side, for the drinks that don't have caffeine, they seem to be artificially sweetened quite drastically. People say that there's very low amounts of sugar, like less than 2 grams per serving, but they're obviously super sweet. So they're obviously using something to sweeten them. I'll put it like this: I don't see a reason to drink anything other than water. If you're a kid or even an adult, I mean, obviously there's some exceptions to that. There are some things that are great to drink that don't have negative effects. But to me, it seems as though it would have been nice if they could have gone in another direction or instead made something that didn't have the super sweet flavor to kind of keep feeding into that sugar addiction, even though they don't technically have sugar. Anyways, it is what it is. I guess he made this choice. Some people choose to sell and market alcohol. I just personally would have liked to have seen him go down a different direction if he was to choose a product and market it, because I think he could have been successful with anything, and it would have been amazing if he did something that was truly to improve the health of the country and the world. It is what it is. But anyways, so here are the facts. He said it's a better for you option with coconut water. Okay, so I think I look. I can't get into these claims. I have no idea. I haven't done the research. I know More Plates, More Dates talked about some of these things. I'd be curious to see if he responds to this tweet. But anyways, stay hydrated, stay healthy, and drink Prime. Because Ryan Garcia thinks they're this flat. I don't think that's true. I mean, well, who knows? But I don't think that's true. Anyways, so the drama keeps getting more and more out of control with Ryan Garcia, and I guess we'll see what happens. It's a shame, though. I hate to see this lawsuit. I hope they can settle it and squash it ASAP. Ryan Garcia, I know, is doing great things and making a lot of money. And man, lawyer fees and dealing with all this stuff is just going to eat up. It's going to eat up a lot of money, and it's a bummer. We don't want to see him wasting time and energy on that front. So maybe he just stops talking about Prime and they just go their separate ways, especially if it is indeed defamatory things that he was saying or things that he hasn't thoroughly researched. So I'll leave it at that. I am Team Ryan Garcia to some degree. Nothing against Logan Paul, but I just hope this thing goes away and they squash it, figure it out, and maybe they just go in their separate directions. All right, moving on to topic number 3. We got a huge fight coming up. Next weekend, next Saturday. We got Dustin Poirier versus Islam Makhachev at the main event, but then co-main is baller. It is Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. This is going to be I think people are really so caught up in the Dustin versus Islam fight. People, Dustin recently did an interview. Actually, I heard today where he's talking about saying that this very well is going to be his last fight, even if he wins. He said there's something that he's going to have to think about, but he's at that point where he's ready to be a father and be a husband, to just be there for his family. This is a really, really, really interesting fight. So that's been taking a lot of headlines. We're still going to talk about that in our final topic today. But in terms of Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa, this is going to be a banger of a fight. Now, I was really hoping Justin could join today, but we can talk about this on Monday, because he has been telling me some really cool things about Sean Strickland in the gym, sparring, doing amazing things at Extreme Couture. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to share things that may be, things that they don't want to share. But I know that he's looking sharp and looking amazing in his sparring. And Sean Strickland likes to spar right up to the fight. That's his main way of preparing for fights. So he's in there and he's doing his thing. Paulo Costa, I'm sure, is doing his thing. I haven't heard too much. I don't have any or know anybody in his camp or that trains in the gym. But we can say this. We can say that this is going to be a banger of a fight, especially after Paulo Costa's last performance against Robert Whittaker. Yes, won, but what an amazing fight that was. That was probably the highlight of the fight card. I mean, we also had Ilia Topuria on that card, and versus Volk. And that was an incredible fight and knockout. But that fight with Paulo Costa was amazing. Whatever you want to say about Paulo Costa and him pulling out and this and that, when he shows up to fight and he gets down. So this is going to be incredible. Obviously, we know how Sean Strickland rolls. I cannot wait for this fight. I am going to go for Sean Strickland. Obviously, I'm biased because I do like Sean Strickland. He's one of my favorite fighters. But, yeah, I mean, I think he's got the skill set, and I think he's got the skill set advantage over Paulo Costa. And we're going to see him throwing that great jab, best jab in the middleweight division, maybe even in all of mixed martial arts. I don't know. I've heard people more fluent in the sport of boxing and striking and mixed martial arts than I that say that. So this is going to be one hell of a fight. All right, final topic, okay? We're talking about Dustin versus Islam. And I wanted to talk specifically about how Dustin beats Islam, because I think a lot of folks are writing Dustin off in this fight. Actually, while I talk about this, let me look up the odds for Dustin versus Islam. I think that the majority of people are kind of feeling like Islam's going to take this. Yeah, Islam is a minus 370. That's a pretty big favorite. I mean, considering who Dustin Poirier is and what an incredible fighter he is. And I mean, is it warranted? I don't know. I really don't know. So in the interview today that I heard with Dustin Poirier, and I've heard a bunch of interviews of him talking recently about this fight, he admittedly said that this style is a very tough matchup for him, right? He faces with Khabib. Now, very importantly, what he said was, he knew he was studying tape on Khabib. He knew what he was getting into, but he didn't really know until he got in there and felt it. And once he felt it, he understood the power, the pressure, the balance, the strength of Khabib and that style, that Dagestani wrestling heavy style. So now he kind of knows a little bit of what to expect, because there's going to be similarities between Islam and Khabib, obviously on the grappling side. I think most people will tend to agree that Islam's striking is superior to Khabib, so that's going to add another element. But essentially what Dustin said is this: he needs to keep it a fight. He can't get into those positions. And he said, hey, maybe if I get into those positions where he's on me, he's holding me down, yeah, I can wriggle out of some of those and maybe get lucky here or there with maneuvering and doing what I need to do. But in general, he's like, if I play that game, I'm going to lose, is more or less what he says. So the way he's going to win is he's going to have to really rely on good, solid takedown defense and hopefully keep it somewhat on the feet, somewhat striking. And he's still talking about the ghillie. He's still talking about the guillotine, pulling the guillotine and getting the victory that way, and then being able to say, I told you so, to his entire team, including his coach. I mean, that might be the craziest finish of all time if he pulls that off. That will, in my opinion, be a one-up to the Max Holloway finish over Justin Gaethje. If he gets a guillotine and finishes Islam Makhachev of all people with the guillotine, it might be one of the craziest stories of the year in the world of mixed martial arts. So I'm not saying that's how he does it. I'm saying he does it by keeping it on the feet, keeping it more of a striking match, being mindful of the takedowns, trying to get right back up, staying close to the fence. Although Islam and Khabib and that team, they're very good against the fence. But That's a great defensive tool in terms of getting back to your feet. So I think those are the ways that he can do it. Man, I know some people that are picking Dustin. I know majority of people are picking Islam, but there are some big avid MMA fans that I know that are picking Dustin. And I don't know. I I don't know who I'm picking. I have to think about it. I'll decide next week. But I can say this: if Dustin wins, it's a fairy tale ending. It's a fairy tale ending after all he's been through. And I mentioned this on a previous show. I'm going to leave you guys with this thought. The reason why it's a fairy tale is think about the trajectory. So I'm going to go over it one more time, right? Dustin comes in the UFC. He's a rising star, goes up to McGregor, another budding star. They talk a lot of smack, really gets in Dustin's head. Boom, beats Dustin. He gets knocked off his path. He loses momentum, realizes that the weight cut was too brutal, moves up to lightweight, starts chugging away again. Boom, 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 making his climb to the top, fighting everybody. Had a really close fight against Justin Gaethje back in the day, winning, doing his thing, makes it up to the top, fights Habib, actually becomes interim champion. Okay, fights his way all the way to the top, goes up against Habib. Very, very difficult matchup. Gets a crazy guillotine on Habib, if you guys remember, and he was choking him, and it looked super tight. Habib got out. Habib later said, hey, it was no threat the whole time. He was intentionally letting Dustin tire his arm out. I don't know if it's true or not. Habib doesn't seem to lie. I think maybe that was in his mind, but that doesn't necessarily mean he wasn't close to being finished. But anyways, has that, loses to Habib, gets knocked back down, works his way back up, has some more fights, eventually gets a rematch with Conor because Conor calls him out. Conor wants the rematch, gives him the rematch, and he wins. Sparks him. First guy ever to knock Conor out. They have a rematch, immediate rematch. Conor calls for the immediate rematch, and then we have the tragedy that happens to Conor McGregor. He fractures his tibia, but Dustin still gets the victory. Then Dustin keeps going on his upward trajectory, goes back, has a rematch against Justin Gaethje, loses. Insane. He was right there. Oh, no. Well, I'm missing some things, right? He goes up, fights for the lightweight strap again against Charles Oliveira, loses, gets knocked back down, has a rematch against Justin Gaethje. The winner of that fight was going to fight for the title. He loses, goes into very, very deep depression. Okay, and he talks about this, goes into extreme deep depression. He even hints at the fact that he was potentially suicidal, not to put words in his mouth, but that's what he was insinuating in his interview with Ariel Helwani. It was really, really bad, really, really dark. Bounces back, then takes a crazy fight against Benoit Saint Denis, an up-and-comer, which everybody was shocked that he took, including myself. I didn't think he needed to take that fight, but he did it. He laid everything on the line, and he came away victorious, and he won. At the same time, Justin Gaethje, who was lined up to fight for the strap, lost to Max Holloway, so he kind of got knocked back down. Dustin wasn't even supposed to get this fight. There was another fighter, Arman Sarukian, that was in line, but he turned it down, didn't feel ready. Dustin jumped on the opportunity, said, yes, I'm in. Now he goes up. He vindicated himself against Conor McGregor. Yes, he had the slip up against Justin Gaethje. He had that victory, though, before, fell back, won against Benoit Saint Denis, may not get the chance to fight Habib again, but now he gets to fight his protege, who's, I think by most accounts, people consider to be, at this point, better than Habib. Maybe not as mentally fine-tuned as Habib, but in his terms of his overall skill set, better. And now he gets a chance he got a chance to right the wrong against Conor, and he did it. Now he gets the chance to right the wrong against Team Habib. What a beautiful ending if he can pull it off. Amazing. So let me leave you with that, guys. I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, click that like button. If you want to see more from the 10-7 MMA Show, make sure to click subscribe. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Let's wish Justin good luck in his fight today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take it easy.